Hey, this is Rich. We're out here in the garage again, and I'm getting ready to put a moto seat cover on my TE 300. So we're going to video just a couple little things as we briefly go along. Okay, to do a seat cover, obviously I'm going to need an 8T handle for this bike to take the seat off, flat tip screwdriver to remove staples, also a little pair of dikes to remove staples that are still stuck in the plastic. I have an air staple gun that I use with T50 staples. I also need some duct tape. A lot of times, I'm going to show you in the tip, but I would like to duct tape the edges of the actual seat pan so it doesn't cut through the seat cover. Okay, so first off, you just simply start removing the staples. Careful you don't stick yourself with a sharp bladed flat tip screwdriver. Small, nothing real big. Just start pulling them out. Sometimes they won't all the way come out. It's fine, just get them stuck up so then you can at least grab hold of them with a pair of needle nose or a pair of pliers, something like that, just to pull the rest of the way out. Okay, so now we've removed the seat cover, and I want to talk about the seat foam for a minute. In this case here, we have a pretty worn out, used up seat foam, and I'm trying to get a little more life out of it. So one of the things I learned over the years to get a little more life out of the seat foam is to simply just take duct tape, finding the duct tape here, and what we're going to do is unravel the duct tape and just simply from one end to the other, we're just going to stretch out the duct tape and simply tape the seat foam all the way throughout the whole seat and just layer it. What it does is just kind of stiffens up the seat foam, just makes it a little bit stiffer. If your seat foam is kind of worn out and soft, it's something you can do to get a little more life out of it. Okay, another small little tip over the years I've experienced and kind of played around with and made it easier is just putting a piece of tape over the corner here where the base of the seat goes from the subframe and then starts to go up the back of the gas tank. A lot of times just where you rub there a lot or you grip the bike there a lot with your knees while standing, I like it just a flat surface behind the seat cover. Duct tape helps me do that, so the seat cover is actually less prone to get torn there just from gripping the bike too tight with your knees. I've seen it over the years. So if you have good positioning on the bike, good posture, and you're gripping the bike with your knees, this is something you might want to do as precaution. Now we're ready to apply the seat cover. Most seat covers these days, the front has a little cuff in it. So you want to just slide that little cup over the front of the seat. Make sure it's pulled down, good, stretched out the way it should be, and centered. And then just kind of hand place the rear a little bit, like you're pulling over in the center again to the rear, just to make sure you're kind of got the right things going on here before you start to staple it. So looks like everything should be good. Some seat covers you might have to heat up a little bit, get them to loosen up and stretch. I've seen that happen. So something you can do is just heat it up, either throw it in the dryer or use a hair dryer. Just be careful not to get it too wet or too hot. Alright, we're ready to staple. We got our staple gun plugged in, air staple gun. The moto seat cover we used has a little logo, so we can use that to kind of center the back of it, because that's where we're going to start. It's not stapled up here yet at the cuff. Cuff's just kind of loose there. So I'm going to start at the back. I'm going to hold it down kind of tight. Both hands. Obviously, I'm keep it tight and centered. I'm just going to work a staple in. Hold pressure down. Put a staple. Put at least two. I'm losing pressure. Okay. So I started with just the staple in the back there. Now I'm going to work to the sides and come in and then come back and fill it in. But I want to make sure, again, that everything's proportioned properly. You don't want to end up with a big hump here, so make sure that you work that out so you don't have that issue. But I'm going to work myself back to this little corner here of the pan, where the seat pan, where the subframe and tank come together, I guess is what you call it. Just throw a staple in it, or two. She's misfiring today. There we go. Alright, so then we'll go back across from that. Again, like I said, make sure that I don't have too many ripples here in the belly of the seat. Again, I'm stretching it over. I'm going to throw a staple or two in it. There's one, misfired. There's one. Okay, so I do have a little bit of ripple there, but I should be able to work it out when I fill in. Yep. So I'm going to start stretching and pulling them ripples out. Okay, so now I'm just filling in. And what I do is I'm just trying to hold pressure with the seat cover taut or tight, whatever word you like to use. And then I just kind of push in with the staple gun as well, so it's a good straight pull on the fabric material, however you want to say it, and a shot. Just filling in as I go. It's a lot easier with this gun. Do that. I have it stapled, the whole seat cover stapled, and we're going to trim the excess seat cover that's left. We don't have an issue with that. So we're going to trim just up alongside where you stapled, but not too much. You want to leave some material and some fabric. Just taking a sharp razor knife, make sure you cut away from you, and don't go crazy with it. Just go easy. You don't want to cut yourself. You're going crazy. Okay, got the seat cover on. We did pretty good. Stretched it out. Looks pretty good. I like it. Again, it was a Moto seat cover. They have a great product. It's pretty durable. Good material. We're just repositioning the seat and I'm going to put it back on. So before we go, two things I'd just like to mention. I always like to include more tips within a tip. And we talked briefly earlier about your seat foam wearing out. Okay, one of the reason the seat foam wears out besides just excessive use is just to get wet. So it's a good idea when you wash your bike. One of the things you do is take your seat off after you're done washing your bike and just simply stand it up in the corner. So any water that is in the seat foam will run out of the seat and it'll drain rather than just sitting on your bike in the garage. So take your seat off after you wash your bike and kind of stand it up to let loose the moisture and the water drain out of your seat foam. Another thing is, as far as seat heights and stuff, remember for me, as far as in terms of body position and stuff like that, you know, in riding school terms, I always like to sit on the bike, not in the bike. So I'm 5'10", but I run a little bit taller seat, but I do something a little different. I kind of put a little bit of seat foam underneath the middle section of the bike, just middle section of the seat, just to bring that up, rather than the whole seat itself, which some tall seats do. But just be conscious of that. If you're sitting too far down in the seat and having turn issues, it might be related to your seat foam. You might want to try a taller seat foam. I'm Rich Lafferty, and this is a seat cover tip.